Welcome to another HiggTalks podcast. Today we got two great guys, the Jake Reid, co-hosting with me today, and we've got Mr. TK over here. How's it going, TK?
Oh, it's going phenomenal. How are you doing?
Man, great to have you on here. You've got a lot going on. We need to hear a lot of things from you.
So it's going to be a lot packed into this for sure.
Let's do it. Show. Can we just start with kind of your background, who you are, where you come from, and all that sort of good stuff?
Yeah, the quick background, U.S. Air Force veteran, corporate America, left corporate America in 2008, ended up going into business on my own, performance health and wellness products. And right about that same time that about 2000, when I made a move from one corporate to the other, I started working with professional athletes and celebrities. So also been doing that for the last 23 years. Had some celebrity softball games. We've done, Super Bowl parties at Super Bowl host city. We've done just about everything that would put gray hair in my wife's head. So it's been a lot of fun and a lot of craziness, but yeah, just all over the place.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into the Air Force and you get out of the Air Force. Where are you at that point?
Actually, got out of the Air Force early in '95. I took an early out with honorable to go play college football with my little brother at Southeast Missouri State. And so I left in that spring and was going to go in that fall. And it's my hometown of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Scott City, Missouri is where I grew up, but Cape Girardeau, Missouri, right there is where Southeast is. And I had an old friend from high school who is probably 4 or 5 years older than me. He was like a big brother. He was like, "Why are you wasting your time going to college? Come work for us, selling mobile homes." And I was like, "There's no way." And then he showed me how much money they were making at that time back in the early 90s. And I was like, "Oh my God, get me hired." And and that's kind of where it took off from there. I ended up going in corporate America. And I think I was making about $14,000 a year out of the Air Force, and actually thought I was rolling pretty heavy at that, and because I didn't know any different, and then I started making six figures in manufactured homes, and then fast forward, just kind of kept getting recruited, and Fortune 500 company Oakwood Homes recruited me down here in Texas in '98 to run a couple of stores, and then I ended up being a district manager running 12 stores for them, and then had a car accident in 2000 driving home, and they had to revive me 4 times and care flight me and call my wife, call my brother, and basically he's like, he's not going to make it. And I had my entire face redone on my 30th birthday, which is October 13th coming up, which will also be a Friday. It was a Friday 13th of 2002 when we had it done. And after that, it was a great life changer for me, because at that point I just kind of thought corporates were doing me a favor by letting me work my rear end off for them, and they were paying me very well at the same time. And I was actually really worried because in losing my opportunity with Oakwood Homes, because I knew I would have to move down, because they were going to have to put somebody in my spot until we could figure out where to go. And if I was going to get another DM spot, then it wasn't going to be here in Texas, which I knew my wife wouldn't want to move. So I was a little bit worried about it, and talking to my mom about it one day while we were in the hospital room, and she was like, it would seem to me that they would be more worried about losing you than you should be worried about losing them. Mm-hmm. And that was probably the number one, the first time that I really understood my value, right? Because I always had thought, if you don't have a college education, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have this, you can't really be that person, right? And that's really was a pivotal point. And then the other pivotal point was after I got home and was recovering. I looked like the dude off Goonies, by the way. Not any of the pretty ones, the one with the Superman shirt, Sloth. So I looked like that guy for about 3 months. And also right around Halloween was a lot of fun trick-or-treating, because I still had staples in my head and, all black and blued up. And people are like, "Oh, my God, that's a great, outfit." And like, "Yeah, grab the candy. Let's move. Let's keep moving." And so I probably would have won some really good Halloween contests during that time frame too. But the other thing that happened is I was sitting at home. My wife came home. "Hey, we going back?" "I don't know." And I was watching Jerry Maguire, and I was like, "I think I'm going to be a Jerry Maguire." And she was like, "I'm calling the doctor right now. You got brain damage. Like, you don't even know an athlete. You don't have a degree. You're not an attorney. You're like, what are you thinking here?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just want to do something fun. I'm tired of just, working 75, 80 hours a week." At that point, money didn't even matter to me anymore. I had 2 small kids, or we had 2 small kids, and it was just like, I want to just enjoy life, and I want to do something that's fun. And ended up getting back into corporate world as a VP, probably not even about 90 days after that, and went to meet somebody. I was early, he was late, decided to belly up at the bar, have a drink while I was waiting. It was early, nobody was there. I was still stocking the bar, and there was one guy about 1 bar stool down. We started hanging out talking, And I gave him his card or my card, and we found out that he was like, yeah, I played in the NFL, and I'm like, what's your name? Emil Stens. I was like, oh, 32 from Chicago Bears, Texas Tech. Oh man, big fan, and didn't think twice about it. And 2 weeks later, he's the one who called me and was like, hey, I want you to handle all my marketing. And that's what kind of started the parallel path. So I was in corporate America doing what I was doing there as VP. I was also starting to work with him, and he was educating me on how to, how the game really is played from behind the scenes. And then he introduced me to Super Bowl MVP Larry Brown, he introduced me to Michael, and it just kind of started snowballing over that, and that's just kind of how it grew from there. And then that was, again, almost 23 years ago. And then 2008, quickly, corporate world, the economy was getting hit. Shareholders brought me in and was like, we got to get rid of half of this, department and company, help us out. And I was like, I'll help you out because I'm not firing anybody. I'm out of here. And that's when I decided, like, if I don't make anybody millions of dollars, it's going to be me and my family. If I don't make any money, I'm going to still put it on me. Mm-hmm. So regardless of which way we go, I'm out. I'm going to do my own thing. And that's how I got started, and we kind of took off from there and never looked back. That was over 15 years ago. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's been a wild ride for sure.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Well, show me the money, TK.
Always show me the money, babe.
That's what I got.
Actually, that's what my wife says every morning when I get an alarm clock goes off. She used to show me the money, yeah.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, with that kind of entrepreneurial spirit that you got going on, as people are kind of looking you up and everything, I know the Celebrity Baseball Classic is near and dear to you, to your heart, and something y'all been doing for a while. Kind of tell us all about that and kind of what started that, kind of what athletes really brought to the table there, and kind of what. Yeah,
it goes all the way back to again playing Air Force softball, and again probably 2001 when I started working with pro athletes. I had a young lady from Big Brothers Big Sisters come into our corporate to give us the Big Brothers pitch, be a mentor, right? And we probably had 250 people in here listening to her pitch, and at the end of the pitch, she was like, who wants to volunteer? Just crickets. Everybody's like, get me out of here. I was even like, get me out of here, right? So I fell on the sword. I was like, you know what? I'll volunteer. I'll be a big brother. What do we got to do? And that's kind of how I got started in the philanthropic, of being a big brother, and ended up being Big Brother of the Year for the Horizon Big Brother of the Year, which 2 years or less Big Brother in 2004. But then what happened is other charities started going, hey, we know you have some influence and bring you guys here, and we want you to come help us. And so what happened is over the years, my wife and I going to all these black tie galas, it was finally just uncled out. Like, I can't do any more of these. And we just happened to be at a Lone Survivor Foundation gala, and I was on Marcus's board at the time, Marcus Luttrell. And Marcus and I were talking, and we were both at the same position of like, where's the side door? Let's get out of here and go have some fun. And we were talking about the black tie, and he was like, yeah, we need to figure something out. And I was like, what if we do a celebrity softball game? And he was like, put it together. So the following year we did it, and we did it at Rice University, and we had co-ed celebrities versus co-ed veterans. And our veterans were amputees, able-bodied, guys and girls been blown up. It's just all over the place on the veteran side. And then same thing on the celebrity side. We have everybody from Dan Pastorini, the great 70s quarterback of the Houston Oilers, and a dear friend of mine, like a big brother, and Jenny Finch, and Roger Clemens, and Willie Robertson from Duck Dynasty, and Taylor Kish, and the list goes on. And it was just such a great time. There's a lot of celebrities that didn't know other celebrities, a lot of veterans that didn't know other veterans, and obviously the veterans and celebrities that connected. And it just turned out to be just a great time. And then they had some regime change at Lone Survivor, and one of the new directors was like, great, see you later. And so in 2017, I was on the phone with Roger Clemens. And not to keep dropping names, but this is how it works. So I'm on the phone with Clemens, and we're talking, and this is probably March, April, of 2017, and OUT weekend come up, which is coming up, I think, this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, Rocket, what if we did an OUT game? It kind of kicked off OUT weekend. And he was like, little brother, put it together. So we, we had everybody from Vince Young to, you name it, all the greats from all OUT, they all came out to play. Wow. And we actually had veterans playing on there. And the first one we raised money for, Lone Survivor. Even Marcus came and played in it, and it was a lot of fun. And probably a week, it might not even been a week before the game, Rocket called, and he was like, hey, how we doing on rosters? I'm like, we're full, we're good. And he was like, well, I got a couple guys that I think would be a benefit. I'm like, great, who? And he's like, Matthew and Toby. And so I'm thinking like athletes, right? I'm like, Matthew and Toby who? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's first of all, actually it's quiet. Then it's like, McConaughey and Toby Keith. And I'm like, yeah, those guys can play. But here's the deal, Rocket. Like, I got to have jerseys, numbers, sizes, what they want. Literally by the time we hang up this phone, like, I don't even know if I can get their jersey done in time. And literally I hung up the phone. Here come the texts. We were able to do it. They came and played, had a blast. After that first game, the three of those guys pulled me over to the side and said, hey, look, why don't we really team up? There's something here. Let's team up on this. Let's really make this a lot of fun. And what we'll do is whatever we make, we'll split between the four of us, our charities, and TK, you donate to whatever foundation charity you want, which was always Lone Survivor Foundation. And yeah, it exploded. And then after the 2018 game, all my other celebrities, guys and girls, started calling, complaining. I'm like, hey, this is a lot of fun. What about us? We want a game too. And because they were all coming to the game, but nobody got to play, and they were just, up in the suites. And so they wanted their game. So in 2019, we actually had two games. One for Memorial Day that benefited Carry the Load, and then which was all co-ed. And then we did the OUT. And then 2020 comes, COVID comes, kills both games. And the OUT game we always had up at Frisco Rough Riders, and because even though they're independently owned but still controlled by minor league baseball, coming out of late 2020, they weren't sure if they could even have an event in 2021. So the Rangers actually contacted me at the end of 2020 and was like, hey, why don't we do a 2-year deal, have your games here at Globe Life. At that time, they had only played the World Series during COVID, which was Dodgers and somebody else, right?
Right.
And so it was kind of like, yeah, this would be kind of a cool little bucket list. So the last 2 years we did it there. A lot of fun. We had almost 14,000 people there last year. It looked like we had about 4. It's just so ginormous, the field is, that it's like we got to get back up to Frisco. So we're going back up to Frisco this year. We're actually going to have a veteran game first, co-ed game, and then we'll have the veteran celebrity game afterwards. And, yeah, the rosters are stacked on both sides. And even the veterans are what most would consider celebrity veterans. Guys that are doing acting, have been on, different Yellowstone series shows or The Chosen or, a bunch of, country music artists, those type of guys and girls. So it is a lot of veterans, great veterans have done great things in post their career. And then the celebrity list is all over the place. I wasn't going to do more than 30, and then I think we're about 65 people per team at this point. I don't even know. It's like
that's amazing.
Every day, as we were talking about, somebody else is like, is it too late? And it's like, send me the jersey number. Like, not really at this point.
Great problem.
That's
awesome. So it's like, come on, and then we still have some big names that's left us. A lot of big country music artists and actors and actresses that we're just kind of waiting because the writer's strike is getting ready to come to an end. So a lot of people. Especially bigger actors are thinking as soon as that's done, we're probably going to be, we'll be right. Once the writer strike's done, the actor strike will be done. We'll be back at work, and it's going to be, clear your schedules because you got to get back here, right? And then our country music guys, they're always all over the place. I mean, they get bookings. Most of them are done by October 31st. But like Cody Jinks was wanting to play again this year, and then he just got something last week booked for November 3rd and 4th. I don't even know where it is, but. He called, and as we were talking about it, it's always funny because kind of like McConaughey at the OUT game, it's like their Game 7 of the World Series, right? I mean, you got to think it from McConaughey's standpoint, right? Huge UT fan, huge, just getting to see Vince Young and these guys playing on the field and just would love to be out there with them, right? And now he has a celebrity game where he is on the field with them. And he always plays shortstop. He's always the dirtiest little kid at the end of it. He's like a little third-grade kid, bleeding, dirty, plays all out, has the best time. His son Levi always came in and was the bat boy. But for a lot of these, celebrities, even like, your country music artists that, they're out there with a bunch of Dallas Cowboy players. We've had Zeke Elliott playing these games, Michael Irvin. I mean, you name it. The list goes on and on. DOC, he'll be back this year. But it's just all over the place. But for a lot of these, it's like a childhood dream for a lot of these guys and girls, right? To be at the big stadium, big stage with all these other great, amazing athletes and celebrities that you might look up to. So it just makes it great. And the whole weekend itself is just really a big family reunion. I mean, again, celebrities that don't know all the other celebrities, veterans don't know the other veterans, and all them guys that don't know each other. And the relationships that's been developed over the last, 8-9 years of doing these things has been phenomenal. And I actually enjoy these even more than going to like Super Bowl weekend or, for the parties during Super Bowl week because it's just a little bit more chilled, a little bit more, downplayed, but everybody's just having a great time. And we're raising a bunch of money. I mean, we have, I think, 15 or 16 charities, and we'll probably end up donating over $300,000 this year. And, yeah, so it just keeps getting bigger and crazier every year, so it makes it nice.
That's awesome. Two
Yeah.
things that kind of strike me about getting to know you and talking to you. One is kind of how you steward relationships.
Mhm.
You just seem to make relationships with people and steward them well to where they trust you, and it just kind of snowballs into more and more and more.
Mhm.
I'd love to hear more about philosophy about that. And then two, you mentioned in the past you kind of had a mentor that kind of took you on and got you started in the entrepreneurship space. And if you want to touch on that too, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, so from a relationships, I grew up a street kid, just by the grace of God, I'm, probably not still rotting in prison from some of the things I did growing up when I was young. Nothing super bad, but, egging a police station, fun things like that, growing up. Just
as one would do.
what I would consider normal growing up, but, if my kids did it nowadays, I'd probably be that crazy parent like, you're never leaving this house again type stuff. But, so just always at mischief, but, so I always had more of a street mentality than I had a book smart. I was always street smart, not book smart. And so I always had a good read on people, and I was able to do that very well, and it just benefited me, right? And the older I got and the more things I got into, really helped me, like even in the corporate sector, being one of the only people without the college degree. But I could understand the employee's standpoint because I was in their shoes before I got on the other side of the curtain, right? So my mindset always was, I'm an underdog guy. I can't stand the corporate side, the corporate executive side. So even though I might have that title, I'm still over here with these are my guys and girls, right? So, so it was always looking out for those type of individuals. And then, like anything else, just do what's right? I mean, this industry, whether celebrities or pro athletes, is so sharky. I mean, even the agency side, like I don't like if an athlete's like, hey, you got to talk to my agent, I'm literally like, stay at home. Like I wouldn't spend 5 minutes talking to your agent, bro. Like if you're a big boy or big girl, you can't make a decision, stay at home. Like you don't need to be coming, but I'm not talking to your agent. And because it's just so sharky and, it's a, what can I get out of you today type industry for most people nowadays in this world. It's always like, what can you do for me now? And my mindset is, what can I do for you now? How I can help you more so. But yeah, I've got friends that all the way back from elementary I still stay in touch with. Just like DOC, we just had, like I told you, we had lunch before here, and we're both kicking ourselves that it's been almost a year. We talk all the time, but it's almost been a year that we've actually stopped to go have lunch together, right? And just kind of catch up. And that's really what happened. For me, relationships, my wife's always like, you're too personal. And I'm like, if I'm not personal, then they're probably not going to be even a relationship. Sure. Like if I'm just that person, right? Like if you're in with me, you're in until you're out, right? And I don't have a problem telling people you're out too. Like it's not hard for me to go, you know what? You can go ahead and lose my number at this point. Don't ever call me again. Don't ever let me see you again. So that's just how I am. Like, you'll get the best of TK, but if you screw up, you're going to get the worst of TK too. So that's kind of that side of it. And again, I'm just kind of, it's just, I care about people that care about me and my family. And if they're going to take care of me and my family, I'm going to do everything I can to take care of them and their family. So that's how these, and also out of all those games that we've ever had, we've never paid anybody to come. I don't pay for travel. I don't pay for hotel. I don't pay for even a drink at the bar. Like, you're coming, you're on your own. Like, I'm going to get you a jersey and a hat, and we're going to have fun. But, it's really cool that the celebrities don't, that I don't even have to tell them, and they're not asking. So but again, it's all relationships, right? So that's first question. Second question is for mentorship. It started when I was real young. I just didn't understand that, in life, success is by design, no matter what level you're at, right? I could go to college for something, walk into Higginbotham here, and they're going to teach me what I need to know, right? And if I'm smart when I come here, I don't really care, but only the top people, the top earners are the only people I want to sit around and see what they're doing, and I'm going to copy them and cheat, right? Like, how did you become top earner here? And when I was in corporate America, it would always make me crazy. Like, if we had 100 salespeople and you got 20 people making six figures and 80 people making not six figures, but you all got the same phones, same computers, same everything. How are these people, how could you even come in here and only make 60, 70,000 when these guys are making high 150, 200,000 with the same job? Like, I don't get it. Like, it's the same time, same everything. And then the other side of it, from a family standpoint, is like, why would you even do that to your family? If you're going to be, I'm a very greedy person when it comes to my time. Like if I'm away from my family, I better be doing everything I can to make sure they're getting the most out of my time away, right? That's just how I am personally. So, but again, I just don't always understand like just the casualness sometimes of individuals when they do that. But from a mentor standpoint, like again, from kids that were older than me in high school to, senior enlisted NCOs when I was enlisted, to people who actually teach me how to, I could hit a long ball, but I didn't even understand how to play softball. I played high school baseball, but so I had to be taught how to play softball, right? It kind of sounds weird, but the reality is I had to actually be taught the science behind the game itself, right? So at every level, like if you don't have a mentor, then you probably got bigger problems in your life. Like if there's not that person you can call and go, hey, I need to know X, Y, Z. And even with my kids, when I tell them, like when you go to corporate and they're going to like, we're going to put you with this person, start learning, your question out of your mouth better be, is this the number one earner in this building? Mm-hmm. If they're not, I'm not sitting with this person. And if they fire you, good luck. Like who cares? We'll find another company. But if that company's not sitting you with the top earner to learn first, the right way to do things, move on. So mentorship is everything, I think, in life, and you can't ever get enough of it. And the cool thing is now with the information age, like, again, DOC and I were just having this conversation. I probably spend about 80% of my time, even in my own corporates, and what I do is spend it on research or looking up somebody who's already achieved what I want to achieve, and how did they get there, and what do they do, and how do they do it, and cheat. Yeah. That's kind of how I work.
No, that's amazing, because I think you hit on all the high points there when it comes to just delivery, determination. You have access to resources. There's plenty of things that you can do as an entrepreneur that can help you succeed. You don't have to be the smartest, the fastest, strongest.
Not anymore, you don't.
Yeah. No,
the hardest part is just the discipline.
Yeah.
Right? So like, Jessica and I get up every day, 5:30, and get our workout in, and I hate it. I didn't even get up that early when I was in the Air Force, right? And then, now that we're older and it's just us, and my wife's super healthy, and I used to not be super. I like the peanut M&Ms and the Doritos and all the the Little Debbies. I mean, me and Little Debbie had a hard breakup a few years back. I mean, that's why I always tell everybody I lost my love. Me and Little Debbie had to break it off, and I still see her every now and then in the Walmart aisle and just reminisce. But it's the discipline of just again when you look at successful people, it really does come down to discipline and determination, right? Of having your rear end handed to you 9 times and you're still getting back in the fight on that 10th time, right? And it's those type of individuals that you end up seeing that they end up being successful in life, right? And the thing is, I think a lot of people just give up too early or too easy, or just kind of like I'm just not going to be that good, or they just don't put the extra effort, and it's usually not much. If they were just to put that little extra effort in, man, they'd be surprised what they could do. Yeah.
Well, this is a perfect segue into your book. Stop Whining, Start Winning 2.0. Tell us about how you came up with that mantra. Who got you along the way.
Well, again, the reality, we're going to skip all of the failures, right? But because we'd have 2 weeks worth of podcasts just on TK's failures, right? But I'm just one of those persons that I enjoy failure because it kind of shows me which direction I need to go. I think a lot of people are scared of failure, and if you fail, then you feel like, oh my God, I'm a failure. When it's like, no, it's just a learning lesson. We go a different direction, and that's why I used to tell my kids in school when they might have anxiety on tests, like, it's just tests. Like, I don't care if you fail it. Then at least we know what you got to work on, right? So don't be scared to go in and take a test, and that's really all life is, right? Tests, right? So you might get a passing grade, you might not get a passing grade. You don't get a passing grade, what we got to do to get a passing grade, right? Yeah, I'd rather be this guy than a guy that's running on success all the time and then hit a brick wall and not figure out, like, now I'm done because I don't know how to handle adversity, right? So I'd gotten performance mouthpieces in 2010 and teamed up with an NHL guy, and we started creating these performance mouthpieces, and had over 400 top athletes. We were doing studies at the U.S. Air Force Academy. And in 2016, we got them from a $5,000 dental orthotic down to about $1,800 and thought we were doing pretty good. And we weren't. We couldn't. I mean, it's just still too high. We even created a self-impression kit where you didn't have to go to the dentist, order it, came to your house. And in 2016, I was telling my partner, like, man, we need to create like a $50 product that will do what this does. And he was like, no, I'll never do it. And I was like, great, you can just go ahead and buy me out at this point. So I was 36, getting ready to be 37. And it was kind of like, now what now here, I'm sorry, 47. Okay. So now I'm like, here I am again, 47, back to square one. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And I kept having this publisher calling me and saying, hey, you should write a book. And I was doing some speaking with different corporations and stuff at the time, just kind of kicking tires. And I'd also would go in and help corporations, upper management, figure out middle management, why we're not getting what we need out of our employees, right? And so I would do a lot of that type of consulting. And so they were like, well, you're out doing speaking, you need to write a book. And so I wrote my autobiography, right? And I had some time, I wrote it. I just started from, okay, you're born on this day, and here we are here, right? Then I read it, and then I was like, this book absolutely sucks. It's about me. I'd be pissed off if somebody gave me this book, right? It's just uneventful, personally. And so I called them, I'm like, I'm not doing it. And they're like, no, you need a book. I said, I'll tell you what, if you let me write a cheat book on how somebody, whether 17, 25, 35, my stepmom's 72, she just read it for the first time like a week ago.
Wow.
And was like, oh my God, I wish I would have had this back then, right? So it's just kind of a cheat book on how somebody like me, again, just got to where I am by just, what I've learned from mentors. And we wrote it. It did really well. They got a new editor that came on the publishing company. She ended up calling me saying, hey, look, I read your book. I'm brand new here. I'm going through all the books. I think we ought to turn this into a workbook so people can actually take notes at the end of each chapter. And so they ended up redoing it 2.0. But when I was writing this book, I was kind of feeling that woe is me type deal, right? And again, my wife, Jessica, was like, let me give you some help. You need to stop whining and get back to winning. Right? And I was like, oh God, there's the title, right? Like, okay, yeah, yes, okay, and so that's kind of how we got to, stop whining, start winning, right? And because I do think people can get to a point where they just, woe is me, and they just, and the thing is, what people don't understand is time. Time is the most precious commodity, and I mean, you don't have any time to waste. And I mean, a year can go by that, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you could be here in 5 years from now, you're still here going, I haven't really even advanced my career. What have I really done for myself to help myself here even, right? I think a lot of people just get caught up in what I consider paycheck players, right? When you're working for corporate America. And even if you're out, you got to, it's a sales commission type thing. Once you kind of build your base and you're kind of in a comfortable zone, you're kind of, again, now I'm just kind of like, I'm going to put the coasters on. I just kind of enjoy where I'm at. I'm just going to kind of, and it's kind of like, man, why? Why are you just going to hit the coasters? Like, be greedy. Right? Like every day you should be still getting up and like outdoing yourself yesterday. That's just how I am personally, right? And I mean, I don't compete with anybody but myself. And man, me and this guy, we fight back and forth. You already know we got two personalities going on inside my head all the time. I got TK and Tim Klund constantly inside myself. And those two are constantly going back because there's days Tim Klund would definitely like to be like, we've done enough, let's just chill today. And then TK is going, man, get your big butt up. We got things to do, right? And we're always going, or TK might be going, no, we're going to go do this gala, and Tim Klund's going, no, we're going to throw some slippers on, and we're not doing anything. The guy that says I want to go, we're not going, right? So, inside myself, I mean, I fight with, we're constantly a competition within myself of going back and forth. But again, I don't want to say feel bad for individuals, but, what I do feel bad is that I just don't feel like most people, I feel like most people are probably at about 60% of what their actual potential in life is. Yeah. To me, that's the sad thing, right? It's just like, man, you got still 40% of potential available that you could be out absolutely like, what would even another 5%, 10% do for you, your family, your friends, your just that much more, right? So for me, that's how the book came about. Again, I really kind of wrote it to my own high school self,
That's cool.
Because I was always that kid that they're kind of like, God, I hope you can even just graduate. That was my parents' whole goal is like, oh, I hope I was the oldest. Like, hope you graduate. And I'm like, that's the expectations, right? And the reality is, yeah, if it wasn't for sports and girls, I probably would have dropped out of school in 5th grade, right? And started hustling straight at that point. But again, it was just, school to me was so boring, so uneventful. And again, I only went for those two reasons. And as we discussed, until I got in corporate America, started learning how to make money. And then I got greedy to, I'll be here as long as I keep making money, right? And that's just kind of how it turned out.
Cool.
So, but yeah, that's what the book's about. It's just, again, how to kind of maybe give you a little edge, just look at some different things. There's one piece in there on, being philanthropic.
Yeah.
Again, if I wouldn't have, that lady from Big Brothers Big Sisters didn't come in and I didn't take that step to go, to be a mentor, I can't tell you how many relationships amazing, great friendship, family relationships I would have missed out on because I wasn't a part of Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yep.
Right? It's just those little bitty things. And that's why I tell people, 90% of the battle is just showing up. I can't tell you how many galas I don't want to go to or how many events I don't want to go to. It's like, okay, I told that person I go, and I kind of go, and I get there and I'm like, and then you leave there going, oh my God, thank God I came tonight because I would have never met this person or that person, or
Yep.
It always works out like that, right? So it's always just like showing up, getting up and showing up, right, and putting in 110% every day.
Sweet. Well, we could be here all day talking about
All
you.
week.
You've got so much going on, but what's kind of the next couple years look like for you for the Celebrity Baseball Classic? And we'll wrap it up with how people can come
Yeah,
attend
no, the Celebrity
and buy
Softball.
tickets.
Yeah, the CelebritySoftballClassic.org. It's honestly every year afterwards I say I'm done with this. I'm literally trying to talk both of my young adult sons to be like, you might want to take this over.
Yeah.
Like 28 and 25, like let me start teaching you guys how to do this, right? And of course they have zero interest, and they like to come and hit the suite. They both have a big party suite that they're Tech and TCU friends, kids from Alito and All Saints they grew up with as well, and then went to college. They're all in that suite, so they'll take that all up on Dad. But actually putting the work in to deal with this, it's not what I'm trying to explain to them is like, guys, like my relationships could be your relationships, and I'm not going to be here forever, and I don't want to be doing this forever. But you can kind of grow your own brand and your own self if you just step in and start doing this, right?
Yeah.
So every year I say I'm not doing it, and then usually after a couple of Coors Lights, after the after party, I kind of relax, and then we usually about 90 days, 120 days later, it's like, all right, what's the next year going to look like, right?
Nice.
So as long as everybody likes to still keep coming, and the sponsors keep helping out, and the donors and everybody else, and we continue raising a lot of money and having a lot of fun, we're going to continue doing it. For me personally, we have our own, again, our health and wellness products. We have several companies, but they can find all that under Buyverve, BUYVERVE.com. We have vitamin sprays because during COVID, I don't like to take pills. My wife was spending probably $300 a month on all these vitamins. After about 3 days, it's like I'm a goner because I'm not taking any more of these. I'm just going to drink more orange juice and we'll work out in the heat, and I'm done. Like if I die, I die. That's it. I'm not taking any more of these pills. And then my partner was like, man, too bad we don't know anybody who could do a spray for us. So we got into the sprays, and they've done phenomenal. It's just one tube will last you 30 days and 8 squirts a day. And we have one for sleep, too, that is probably our #1 seller. Most people have issues with sleeping at night and getting a good night's rest. Just, 6 to 8 sprays of that before you go to bed, you're out. It's TSA approved. You can carry it in your backpack on the plane. But we have one that has vitamin C and zinc in it for cold and flu season. We have a vitamin D3 we had called Sunny, because that's your Sunny vitamin that actually helps with your demeanor. Like a lot of people don't get enough D3 because you go from your house to your car, to your office, to your car, to your house, right? And we don't spend enough time out in the sun. But when you start lacking D3, it changes your whole demeanor. You go from sunny side up to sunny side down. So D3 is a very, very important vitamin that actually helps you enjoy life, I say. And then we have one that helps with appetite suppressant, which is a B5. We call that our skinny. That I pretty much do a 30-day tube of that pretty much daily. Then we have an energy that does real well, and then we have a multivitamin. And then we have one that will be coming out at the beginning of 2024. That's a Focus. And then we have one that will be coming out that Dr. McCullough has put out there. We're going to put all his into one spray. That can actually help everybody from that standpoint. So, and then
You've got a lot going on, Mr. TK.
Yeah, apparel side. I mean, but again, for me personally, I got to have a lot going on to even just stay focused, right? Yep. So it's a blast, and I appreciate you guys even having me up here today. For HiggTalks. I'm going to add the Y on there. So we're calling it the HiggTalks.
I like it.
Yeah. So now and we appreciate you guys here. I mean, absolutely, we love the Reid family, and and everybody up. We have so many family and friends that actually work up here, so we love Higginbotham ourselves. So
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
No, I
Great
appreciate
to
you
hear
guys.
about you.
Yeah, Tim, thank you.
no,
Yeah,
thank you
appreciate it.
guys. Appreciate you guys.